wait, did they hate me? Did they think that they made the wrong choice? Am I going to get fired? Am I not good enough to be here?
Do you feel like that was at all in your favor when you started?
I literally jump onto a stage in like nothing but booty shorts, practically naked, and pretend to be a bird.
When did you realize that that was something you would have to do?
I was kind of a mess.
No, Misty Copeland over here.
I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go all in with this. I think the hardest part about this job is
Hello, welcome back. I wanted to take a quick moment to thank you so much for being here. Your support literally means way more than you will ever know. And good news, if you want to keep continuing to support the show, subscribing is completely free and it takes literally 3 seconds. This is the easiest way to support so we can keep growing, bringing in those amazing guests and just making the show better and better and better. So if you haven't yet, take a quick moment, subscribe below, and thank you so much. Let's get into the episode.
Welcome back, you guys, to Kicking It Real. I'm here with Ryan Hayes, who is a Gonzaga University grad who truly uses his degree to the fullest. He's trained at Steps Conservatory, performed in regional theater productions, and now is a company member of Pilobolus. He is proof that it is never too late to start, and he's really able to see dance as the true art form that it is. So, Ryan, welcome to Kicking It Real.
yay.
I'm so excited. You guys, and also if you're watching a video, different setup. I'm in my parents' room. So we're just, Jesus, take the wheel really quick on this one. But I'm so excited you're here. We're going to just warm it up right away. What have you been kicking it with lately?
Recently, I have been really kicking it with chicken Caesar wraps.
I do love a chicken Caesar. Okay.
And my teaching partner got me really into like Aquaphor for the lips. I used to be like a Vaseline person, but I didn't like dipping my finger in like because it was like dirty. So
yeah, the crust on like the outside of it too. Wait, you're an Aquaphor? I hate to admit this, but I'm a Carmex girl. And my husband is like Aquaphor, like he loves Aquaphor, and he'll be like, "Do you have any chapstick?" And I'm like, "Yeah." He's like, "Do you have mine?" And I'm like, "No, sorry." And then he has to just deal with the Carmex. Do you like a wrap over a salad?
I do.
You do? Yeah.
Yeah.
I love that. That's great. Okay, what are you kicking to the curb?
I feel like, especially going into the summer, like trying to like optimize or maximize, I feel like every time I'm scrolling on social media, I'm seeing like 5 a.m. morning routine, like 4 hours of deep work. And I'm like, honestly, it's the summer. I'm going to like do my dancing, enjoy myself, and try to just like maximize my happiness, not like try to optimize output and everything and like focus on every single like what my sleep score is and freak out if it's like if I don't get a crown that day. Cause I definitely was like in that world this spring and I'm trying to like let go of that.
Isn't that crazy? It's such like a pendulum, whichever one of those that is, where it's like, I also stopped wearing, it wasn't an Aura ring, it was like a different one, but I was like, I had to stop wearing it because I was like, I'm never getting good sleep. And then I'm in my head about how I'm not getting good sleep. Let's maybe not do that. Okay, we're going to go back to the beginning of your journey. You say you got a late start to dance. So when were you kind of first introduced to it, and what made you decide to take that leap and first step and get into it?
So I grew up studying music and playing piano. And then I went to college because I didn't really know what to do. And so then I was a Spanish major for 2 years. And then I saw the national tour of Miss Saigon came through my town and I saw it and I was like, oh, I want to be doing that. Like whatever this is, I want to be doing it.
Wait, so you were in college, like what, 20?
Mm-hmm. I think I was 20 when I started, and I was in my first dance classes the spring that COVID hit. So during COVID, I was like on YouTube, like how to do time step, like how to do pas de bourrée, like taking like my college was doing the like virtual dance classes, dancing in squares, all the stuff. And then we were able to get back in person that following fall, but still very like limited. And then I finished my degree in dance and I knew I was not ready to go join the audition scene. So I went to the Steps Conservatory for 2 years, and that really helped me get more technique and like a little bit more whipped into shape to be competitive in rooms. So
That is so wild. Wait, but did you just transfer right away to a dance degree?
yeah, I think I was one semester when I was like, I wanted to double major. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to go all in with this. Like, I'm going to drop the Spanish major. And yeah,
Me with exercise science, except I like started as a dancer because if I started when I was 20, we would not be here right now, I don't think, which is so wild. So when I was digging on your university, now this is going to switch my questions a little bit because it's definitely like a different approach, I think, and like rooted in different things than most college programs. So why did you choose it for, I guess, Spanish then? And then you kind of were just like lumped into it for dance because you were already there.
my dad was a professor at the university. So there was a tuition remission benefit. So that's why I went there kind of aimlessly, not knowing what I wanted to do with my life. But I knew I didn't want to turn down like free college. Gonzaga's dance program is definitely more geared towards individuals who have a degree and then want to do something with that degree that's related to dance. So a lot of
Mm,
people will get like a human phys degree and then a dance degree and go and be a PT for a dancer for dancers or something like that.
okay.
They just have a BA, no BFA, but the program was kind of perfect for me because I had no dance experience. So it wasn't some like crazy cutthroat
Right.
BFA program that I would have no chance like taking any classes in. So everything kind of just like came into alignment for what I needed, I guess, to
Yeah.
springboard me into the next thing.
That is like the definition of no friction, not no friction, but like friction, less friction, and just like knowing that you're on the right path because that's crazy alignment. So when you were there, what type of technique classes were you first introduced to?
The main three that I took were ballet, jazz, and then we did like they had modern slash contemporary. So it was kind of a survey of different codified modern styles and then contemporary infused into that. And then I took like a musical theater elective, and then all the other like dance history, production courses, all that stuff. I actually I was such an eager beaver because I was like, oh my gosh, I have to make up for all this lost time of not dancing. So I was taking a lot more classes than necessary.
Mhm.
And it actually kind of worked out really well because I was finishing up my last two classes online and dancing in the conservatory because I feel like I always had this feeling of like, oh, I'm behind, I'm late, I have to catch up, which I know that other dancers sometimes like feel the same sentiment for like whatever reason of like, oh,
Mhm.
I haven't booked the national tour yet. I haven't been on Broadway and I'm 30 or whatever their measured timeline is in their
Right.
head. And I think that's also something I've very much been trying to like let go of and seeing people that are in their 40s still dancing on Broadway or doing the thing. It's just so like affirming. We're not on this super crunch timeline that where I feel like we're
Right.
told a lot where it's like, oh yeah, when you turn 30, your dance career is over. So like,
No, actually, where you're like just always comparing yourself to other people, which I feel like I hate using the word ignorance, but like the sentiment of ignorance is bliss. I say this all the time when I look back on my rocket journey. I'm like, when I really started to train in the style and like go for it, I look back at the first video of myself doing it and I'm like, if I would have realized how far I had to go, I don't know if I would have done it. Like I might have like been kind of scared to keep going. Do you feel like that was at all in your favor when you started because you just had this like pure love and excitement?
I think that there was definitely a bit of like, I don't know what I don't know that was super helpful. And like, because most of my time in college was spent in boxes, like when I went across the floor for the first time, it was like a crazy concept to me. I was like, this is the most fun thing I've ever done in my entire life. Like, we get to go across the floor and like do a
You're not hitting your
combo.
couch.
No, exactly. So I think that there was this like discovering of taking a dance class that was so exciting and energizing, And I do think that that played a large role in me being like, oh my gosh, I have to come back and do this the next day.
Yeah, no, like the excitement and pure joy and love because I say it all the time and I'm sure you can agree it's such a hard industry that if you don't have that love and joy for it, it's like don't just do something else because so difficult to make a career out of. But like that love is what you have to really hold on to in that way, which I also love what you said about having to find your niche and like find what
Mm-hmm.
makes you strong and stand out as a dancer because you started late. When did you realize that that was something you would have to do? Because I think there's a big versatility idea of, oh, you have to be able to do everything. And it feels like you were able to kind of be like, actually, let me figure out what makes me me.
So I auditioned for Pilobolus twice. The first time I didn't get it. And I think that after my first audition, I was like, oh, this is the type of work that I want to be doing. Like so many of my auditions before that were like for cruises, for tours, for
Mm-hmm.
regional stuff, for like that world of dance. And
Mm-hmm.
after going to that audition, I was like, oh, I really, really vibed with what was happening in that audition room. I like want to do that again. I did keep auditioning for it was a little under a year, like for MT stuff, cruises and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
But when I once I started dancing with Pilabolus and I think really seeing what a lot of Pilabolus dancers had done after they'd left the company, it kind of showed me that type of work, like
Mm-hmm.
the Sleep No More, the Life and Trust, the like a lot of the stuff that like Lauren and Chris are doing on Broadway. The technique that you're learning in the at Pilabolus is like very specific.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that there is a push to be a super versatile dancer. And I think that in a lot of my training, it was like, oh, you have to be able to do everything. You have to be able to do hip hop and all the stuff. And I I took hip hop every week, but I am just terrible at it. Like I can't even do like the simple jack or whatever. It's just
Me too.
not
I feel that.
me. And I think that like there was something almost like liberating about me being like, oh, like if I ever book a Broadway show, it's not gonna be from me walking into an ECC and making it past every round. It's gonna be because I have this like very specific skill set. And I think that since joining Pilabolus, I have definitely looked for creatives and collaborators that work in that style because that's what I do now. And it's almost like now I'm casting a really narrow net, but the net is like maybe stronger than when I cast a super wide net or something. I don't know if that
Well,
makes sense.
no, it does. It's that idea of if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one. So it's like, and I think we all get stuck in this idea that we have to be able to do everything because you don't want to limit yourself. But when you get really good at a few things, it actually makes you more valuable. The jack of all trades, but master at none type of situation where it's like, oh
Hmm.
no, you understand the value that you have and your strengths, and you're not using it. You're not looking, oh, like I can't do hip hop, so I'm not going to book this show because you know that you can bring something else to it, which you've been talking a lot about Pilobolus, as you should. I saw them in college and I was obsessed. People who are listening and are not familiar, like how would you describe the company to them?
I would describe the company as a modern dance company that creates work with a lot of weight sharing, partnering, and acrobatics, and is super focused on the dance theater aspect of concert dance. They were on the Academy Awards in 2008. And that's when they started doing a lot of shadow work.
Mm-hmm.
And so then they started doing a lot of industrials. They think they did like a Porsche commercial. They did a Hermes thing down on like Fifth Avenue or something. Um,
So cool. Like the integration is so cool. Sorry to cut you off. Keep going.
no, no, no. They also do a lot of touring to universities and will tour to a lot of dance programs. Every summer there's a Joyce season for 3 weeks. So it's kind of always hit or miss, especially talking to people in the dance world who are a little bit more like MT jazz commercial vibes. I'm always like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, have you heard this thing called Pilabolus? I'm like, I don't know. It's like,
Which I don't know how you wouldn't, but like also it is so niche in a cool way though. Can you talk to us about more of that like integration and how they're really kind of like bridging the gap between regular theater and traditional what you would think of with a dance performance and like doing collaborations with these huge mainstream luxury brands?
One of my biggest learning curves joining the company, there were definitely a lot. The like big partnering moves usually were something that would come quicker to me than the like we call it like world building and the theater of the pieces that we were doing. So there's so much focus from our artistic team on like the worlds that we're building in these like 10 to 30-minute pieces that audiences get to partake in from their seat.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like, the theater is just as important, if not at many times more important than the dancing itself. And our AD talks a lot about like the technique and the theater and like them phasing like this until they kind of lock in together because the movement itself informs the technique and the technique informs the theater. So it that was really hard for me, especially because I'm just naturally as a performer, I sometimes struggle with expressing through the face.
Mm-hmm.
So when we were behind like the shadow screen, I love
So
that
you
because
love
my
shadow. I was gonna say that.
I,
Yep, you love the shadow work.
I didn't get a single note about what my face was doing when we were doing shadows.
The way you're describing it too, it's even more than like here are the props and set. This is not the right way to describe it. I was gonna say like 4D. Do you know what I'm saying? Where it's like everything is one versus you're on the stage and yes, there's props and things that you're using, but it's just like more than that, which I can't even really comprehend.
No, 100%. And it's like most of our learning happens like when we're learning a piece, when if a dancer's learning a piece for the first time. So I've been with the company for about a year and a half, and I think I've learned about 10 pieces so far. And each time that we like learn a piece, we'll pull up the rep video archive as opposed to like our dance captain explaining what each person does. We'll like watch a couple minutes and then be like, okay, this is what my track is doing. And obviously, if there's like confusion or you don't understand how to do something, like people like our dance captain or ADs will help us. But something that I really struggled with was I would like watch the video and then do exactly what I saw happened on the video. And then our artistic directors would be like, okay, well, that's not working. And I'm like, wait, why? I'm doing exactly what I saw in the video. And there's this like understanding like the essence of the piece. I feel like this sounds so woo woo, like modern dance pretentious. Like,
But it
like
is, I mean, dance is woo woo, all of it, not
it's
even just modern. It's fine.
it's like I feel obnoxious saying this, but like it's like unfortunately like kind of true. You have to like find the essence of the piece and then like understand how to do that for yourself as a dancer because the way that that person did it on stage that night worked for them, but you can't just be like a carbon copy of what they're doing because it falls flat. And
Mm-hmm.
you know the people in the front of the room are going to tell you that because they want it to be at a certain level. And so it's kind of having to like find it in a like authentic way for yourself, which can be like really hard, especially when you have like 6 or 7 sets of eyes on you and you're like, I don't know what to do right now. Like, because as dancers, I feel like we're so trained to be like, this is the right thing. You step here, you
Mm-hmm.
stand on 7, your right arm goes up on count 2. Like,
Don't I know it?
it can be
Yep.
you more than anyone.
It's so interesting, but it's like that concept of bringing yourself into it. That is the same in the precision world. The one thing that you like can't really teach someone either. And it's like really hard to articulate how to find it because even though for Rockettes it looks we are all doing the same thing, of course, probably more than any other show, but like there is still like a little bit of nuance because if you're just hitting a shape it reads flat. It's like how do you want to stretch the movement out? How do you want to like embody it? Which when you're doing your rep, how much freedom would you say you do have? Are you talking like, oh, you're changing the step, you're changing the shape, or you're moving through it in a different way?
I think it can be all 3 of those. I
Okay.
think that the first option is always just like, how do you as a dancer move through it? And then if it's like, ooh, like your torso is a lot longer than the person who did this
Mm,
before, the shape isn't like
reading.
making sense. Yeah. Cause a
Yeah.
lot of times also like we will, with Pilobolus's work, we'll try to like use 2 or 3 bodies to make not like an optical illusion, but like make something to the eye that looks like, oh, like what am I looking at? Like that's kind of like, oh, I don't know
I don't.
whose leg that is over there and whose
Yeah.
arm that is. It doesn't register with like the human eye. So then like that might be like shaping it a little different based on just like you as a dancer. And then
Right.
sometimes things can get altered or adjusted, whether it be for like the cast or just what's working and what's not working. Especially in more of those like pieces that are super, super theatrically driven. That is where sometimes we see a little bit more like liberty and things being able to be changed and adjusted so that it reads for that dancer that's doing it.
Yeah, no, that makes sense completely too. And I need to like be better at my editing and pop up some like images of this because I'm seeing it so clearly in my head. But like you got to see it to like really understand because it's so much cooler than you could even describe, in my opinion. We're going back to steps now. You're done with college and you're like, I got to figure this out. What was like the most surprising and was there a certain piece or a certain choreographer that you worked with that you were like, "Oh, wait, like this is actually the direction I kind of want to be going in?"
I mean, there's a handful of names that people who I just like really, really vibe with their classes. And I think that just being in their educational environment, I felt like I was making the most like leaps and improvements.
Mm.
I think like Lisa Harvey, Shea Sullivan, and Charlie Sutton were like my main three for jazz and MT. All of the faculty and everyone there was like just incredible.
Because you did regional theater, musical theater,
Mhm.
words. We only dance, we don't speak. Musical theater. Was that the goal right out of it, or was it always kind of Pilobolus?
The goal was definitely musical theater. And
Okay.
I think that I very much believe in like everything happens for a reason, manifestation, alignment, like
Yeah,
charging my crystals. I'm very into that stuff, which like and
me too.
that's okay if you're not, but like I just it really works for me. When I got the call that like I'd booked Pilabolus, that like there was not a doubt in my mind that I knew that it was the right path for me. I felt so aligned to me. I'd like drafted an email to my manager at the Soul Cycle I was working at, telling them that I was leaving in December. And like as I like had it drafted, and as soon as I got off the call, I hit the send button. I just could feel it like I was like, this is in alignment for me. And I think that like there was like a feeling of being like, oh, I like didn't make it. I like failed as a dancer because I'm gonna go join Pilobolus and not keep auditioning to be on Broadway. That was something that kind of like we were talking about, like measuring like what metrics of success you use. And like, I talk about this with my friends a lot. Like there's always the next thing. It's like
Hmm.
I'll be happy when. It's like, oh, I'll be happy when I get that, like when I'm just working as a dancer and all my income's coming from dance. Oh, I'll be happy like when I'm on an equity contract. Oh, I'll be happy when I book like there's I feel like there's always that next thing that we can chase. And so happiness will be in the present or in the present moment, not like when you achieve something. I booked Pilabolus and like I still have lots of things that in my life that I'm still like figuring out. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, I got this dance job. Everything's now perfect forever and ever.
I remember being like, "Oh yeah, when I book this, like I'm gonna be confident and I'm gonna have it all figured out and everything's gonna be great." And it's like you got to do that for yourself and kind of make those own goals, especially like you're saying, all of those goals that probably a lot of people have that they're waiting to be happy for. It's like that's not even really in your full control. Like you can do so many things to help yourself get there, but you're not giving yourself a contract. Like you're not giving yourself this work. Like you have to find that within yourself, which it's crazy to think is just a stepping stone, but it's also a good like reframe of this and right. Like I'm doing this and I could still do more and like really learn from this opportunity. What is it like being with such a like number wise small company, like being one of six?
Yeah.
Versus like when you're in a production and there's a lead and there's a this and the ensemble.
It's definitely a unique experience. I think that there's two things that really make the smallness of the group work. The first is that like the work is so, so collaborative, and we are not succeeding as a group if someone is not succeeding on their own journey
Mhm.
with the show. So we have to work together just a crazy amount to make something happen. And like a lot of times we have to set whether it's like ego or whatever, to the side, and we have to figure out why a move is not working. Like if it's a move that's not working, right? And it can be like, okay, well, I was able to do this move with this person, like I don't know why we can't do it. And it's like, well, no, we just have to figure out how to make it work. And when I joined the company, I got so many notes. And something that I always remind myself is like everyone in the room is always working to put the best thing on stage every night. So like
Yep.
that's the main goal of what's happening in the room. And like removing like the personalness or like taking it personally is because that just for me is how I approach it. I'm like, that won't help me because we have to just look at like what makes the best show each night for the six of us because we all six of us, our ads, everyone is working to make the best show happen, and that's like goal number one. I think that another part of just having such a small company, and when we're touring, and we obviously spend a lot of time together in close proximity both on stage and off stage, but
Besties.
yes, I think that we all have a very unspoken but agreed upon like if someone's headphones are on, sunglasses, and they're in the back of the van, it's like we're not chatting with them this morning. Or if someone's like, I'm gonna go get dinner by myself, like it could not be less personal because we're all like 100% like you go do you. Like we don't all like get to the gate and we're like, oh, what should all six of us do together? Like we can all kind of vibe out on our own. And then obviously like we do stuff together on tour. Like it'll be like when we were in, I think, New Mexico, we found this like super cool, like hot spring spa place that we all like
Mm,
went to and spent the day at. But even then we all went there. Then we kind of went into different pools. Then we kind of came back together. So I think there's kind of a understanding and vibe of like, we'll all be okay if we spend some time away from each other on
yeah.
tour.
What a
Yeah.
great like life lesson of like not I love how you talk so much about ego and just like not taking things personally, both in the work itself, but then like you guys as humans off stage, because I think I try to like tell people that too. Like the more you can remove the ego from anything, because even auditioning, when it's so easy to be like, oh well, like that move's not working, or I didn't book this job, like it must be something wrong with me, where it's like, okay, like let's just like look at this practically, like how can we fix this? And especially when you're performing and dancing, it's like it's we forget it's an art form and it's not always a one size fits all. The whole sunglasses things, because I was thinking about that. People be like, oh, are you guys all friends? Like all 84 Rockettes? And I'm like, there's no one that I don't like, but like that's impossible to be like, I'm not close with every single person, but like six people, like if one person's a bad vibe, like that's tough to have to like get through because you don't have other people. But I love the like, I have such a clear visual, like the sunglasses, and you're like, heard, understood, the autonomy that you're able to take back if and when you do one day go back to maybe auditioning for Broadway. Those types of things are going to help you when you move on to whatever's next for you.
I really think it will. I remember this like so vividly, and I love telling this story. But in our like final callback for Pilobolus, we like spend a day in the studio with the company, and one of the dancers at the time, he was talking about how he was like, I think joining Pilobolus, like you learn so much about dance and all like the technique and all the things, but you also like learn so much about yourself and like who you are as a person. And I think that that just makes you a stronger auditionee or and just like person in general. I also like, and I'm sure that you can probably attest to this. People are always commenting like about the like Pilabolus work. They're like, oh my gosh, like it must be so physically hard. It is physically taxing, but like I think the hardest part about this job is way more the like keeping your mind right than the
Mm,
physicality of it. Like you're saying, like it is hard sometimes to like set the ego to the side or to like lock in. I mean, I'm sure you know way more like having to keep that like precise focus of the mind, like because some days, right? You guys would do like 4 shows a day,
four
yeah.
shows, yeah, yeah. It's I've been diving into that a lot too lately of competition world and like growing up as a dancer and then like what it takes to actually be a professional. And it's not easy, but like it's easy to have good technique and be able to dance. But it's like what you're saying, the harder part is like keeping your mind in the right spot because you're expected to be consistent. You're expected to be pleasant to work with. What
Mhm.
are some of the like specifics mentally for you in this company?
When I joined the company, I kind of like what we're talking back about, like, oh, I'll be happy when. Like, I thought my insecurities as a dancer would go away. Shocker, they didn't.
I was like, they low
Because
key get a little bit worse at first.
I
Yeah.
when I joined the company for the first couple months, I was like, wait, did they hate me? Did they think that they made the wrong choice? Am I gonna get fired? Am I not like good enough to be here? Like that was really, really hard for me. And so like the way that I navigate a lot of those things is just like being as doing everything that's in my control. So like being super on top of like watching the rep archive videos, like knowing the music really well, making sure that I like know what our calendar looks like for rehearsal schedules for tour, like doing everything that's in my control. Cause like you were talking, like there are certain things as dancers, like we can't control if we get a job or not. Like we we can't control casting. And I think that something that I really had to realize and like try to hold on to is like usually what I'm feeling is more of a it's more representative of myself than anyone else. Like if I'm
Mm-hmm.
feeling some sort of way about something, it's probably because I'm actually insecure about it. I have like a want or desire that I'm not voicing or vocalizing, or like it's probably actually internal more than something on the outside. And I
Yeah.
always try to like look internally first. Like, of course, I'm not always perfect about it. I also make sure that I always get enough sleep and I'm not hungry because those
The
those always just
hangry
exacerbate things.
when you're just like malnourished too. Like, oh, I get even when I'm not dancing, like I get you don't want to be around me when I get that hungry and you're like I'm just, everything's a big deal. So real of the like trying to keep yourself in a good place, but then like also when you're in it, I feel like sometimes those thoughts will come up, those insecurities, those thoughts will come up, but then like you're in the middle of rehearsal and it's like you don't always have the time to then go through and dissect them and be honest with yourself. But I mean, I look back to my first season too, and it's something that I wish I was more aware of too. The whole idea of everyone's a mirror around us. And it's like, what is actually making me insecure or making me triggered? And I don't know if you feel the same. I think a lot of the times for me, it was less about the dance portion and it was more about like me as a human. But I don't think I realized it at the time of like, does this person like me? Like, did I say that weird and now whatever, or like they gave me this note, did I not respond in the right way? It's like those are the thoughts I think that are more sometimes challenging than like, oh, I like messed up this step, that run or whatever.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, yeah, which when you talked about what we were talking before too, you started late and you credit a lot of what shaped the dancer that you are today is our mentors that believed in you before you believed in yourself. When specifically on your journey did you feel that the most? And when you were like, okay, actually, these people believe in me? And when, if you have yet fully, when did you fully start believing that about yourself?
I think to your first question, I think that like one super vivid memory I have is I don't know if you know Max Stone. He's a contemporary teacher in the city. He used to teach contemporary for the conservatory my first semester there. And my first semester, I mean, will tell nobody that I'm the world's strongest technician at all, you
No,
know,
Misty Copeland over here. Me
no.
neither.
But that first semester at conservatory, I was pretty busted. I was kind of a mess. And Max, after one class, came up to me and said something where he was basically like, "Hey, like you have like a really great facility. Like I see a lot of like potential here. Like just keep working hard." And that like such little comment that was like 4 years ago had such a big impact on me of just like feeling so seen. Or like a lot of Charlie never taught upstairs for us, but he would teach in the open classes downstairs. And like, if we didn't have conflicts, we could go downstairs and take open classes. And he started like after class, he would like give me notes, or sometimes across the floor, he would like give me technical advice for pirouettes. And like, I think just feeling that investment from educators is so powerful of like, oh, someone else is invested in me progressing my technique in addition to myself. So those are two like really distinct moments I have. I mean, there
Yeah.
are numerous people who I have to thank, but I think that like because I also am big into dance education, and I try to like remember what was impactful for me and what is
Hmm.
impactful for me from like educators. And even something as simple as just like a, hey, you did great today, like to a student can have such a big impact on them. So I try to like remember that. And because I teach a lot of like little ones in comp studios, and like
Yeah.
even if they're not going to like go on to do it professionally, like I'm a huge believer that like extracurriculars, and especially dance, is like
Yes.
so important for child development. Like I could like go off about that for a
Well,
while, but
same.
I'm
Yes.
very passionate about it. And like I know how good that made me feel when people did it. So I want to like do that for the youth, because I think it's like
Yeah.
the youth is our future.
There are future. Well, it's so real, and I think it goes back to our point earlier of how important environment is, and like the types of people that are pushing you and supporting you, because you could have just as easily felt alone and isolated and not able, like no one believed in you. So what's the point, again, because it's a hard industry to be in. But also, to your point on the youth, one of my college professors was like, even if you don't go on to dance, like dancers make the best employees, because there's so much like the time management and doing your homework and putting in the hours outside of your job or class at the time if you're in school. But how often are you teaching? What is the day to day like in a normal season, I guess? How many other jobs are you doing?
This January, I actually just started teaching an open class in the city called Partnering for Broadway. I teach that with my co-teacher, Sarah Busciano, about once a month. And in the summer, I'll usually take about a week or two and like go teach at intensives or
Hmm.
comp studios. My typical week will either be a week, because Pilobolus rehearses in Connecticut. It'll either be in rehearsals in Connecticut, on tour. Sometimes we'll have like 3 days of rehearsal, then like travel to or travel home. It kind of just depends. I do have another job that I was working for a while when I started with the company at Pace University. That's kind of died off a little bit. So I am making like the majority of my income from dance or dance related things. There's not like a real like super normal, which it's hard. It can be really hard, especially for like routine finding.
Yeah, I was gonna say, are you a routine person or do you like the sporadic?
I feel like in my mind, I like routines, but then when I'm in a routine, I'm like, okay, I need some spice. Like,
I can't follow it. I'm like, okay, let me set this
mhm,
routine for myself, and then I'm like, ugh. I'm just like, oh, I don't feel like doing that like right now, or like doing that today. I'm like, I'll do it another day. I'm the same way. Where I say I'm type A minus,
I love it.
or it's like, I kind of like routine. What's the coolest place that you've performed at, or coolest performance?
Performing at the Joyce last year, my mom came and surprised me for a show, and that was like super special. My first tour with the company was to Cyprus, which was an incredible way to start touring.
Mm-hmm.
I Every tour stop is usually pretty awesome in its own right. This spring we like went to Santa Barbara, and it was during the just grayest month of like the
Oh,
Northeast winter. So being on the beaches of Santa Barbara was
wait, is
so
Santa Barbara
nice.
high up?
Santa Barbara's in Southern California, kind of between like
Southern.
it's a little bit above LA.
Okay, that's not relevant at all. Have you got to do a lot of international touring?
I haven't done. They did a lot right before I joined the company. It's been mostly domestic,
Whatever.
but I keep manifesting and asking my company manager when that international tour is coming through. So
Let's
hopefully
go.
soon.
Are you performing? You're performing Martha Graham right now. Is
Yes.
that correct? I was like, let me fact check my research.
Y- y-
I was going to say, does there a certain type of weight that you feel performing that because it's like so iconic? Then maybe you feel if you're doing more of a musical theater fun piece.
Yes, there is definitely like I'm anticipating how the audience is gonna like react to it. All of Pilobolus's pieces are created like in collaboration with the dancers. So this was the first piece that I created with the company. And like I didn't know what I was doing. I was like,
Instead of watching the video, like I'm trying to figure it out. Yeah.
exactly. I'm like in one of those bags. I'm like, does this look good? Like like it's just like you can feel the energy from the audience. And I think that Pilobolus did a really good job. Like the prompt was a choreographic response to her Lamentation solo. And like taking a solo and putting it on six dancers is like just so different. But I really feel like the company did a good job of keeping the essence of Lamentation and like what that solo was and doing it in a very Palabolian way. I do feel like a little something something sometimes performing it of like, oh, like I wonder if Martha's up there looking down like at
She
this like
proud.
yeah.
Are we
um
doing her justice?
exactly.
Gosh, I think back to my college days because like this was like my college experience, like the history and the like pulling inspiration and making it your own. I was never great at that, but like I appreciate like I think it's so cool. Which maybe I could have been if I ever got out of my own head in that way, but that's a whole nother story. We kind of touched on this earlier. Success and people having so many external goals. Where you're at in your life right now, what is success to you for your life?
Ooh, I think that one thing I've been really trying to focus on being better at is work life balance. And I think that a lot of times as dancers, it's like we miss the birthday party, we miss the
Mhm.
graduation or whatever, because like there's this, I think that sometimes there's like a scarcity mindset around work or whatnot.
Mhm.
And I think that I am really trying to like find things outside of dance that are hobbies or things that I can go do that don't make me think about it and like have and develop a life outside of dance and work, because I think that I can have a tendency to have like a workaholic personality of like
Mhm.
always trying to be like, oh, what should I be doing? What should I be doing? What should I be working on? So I'm,
Agree with
and
all of
yes.
that. It is like that. Gosh, the scarcity mindset is so real of like someone's always working harder than me and like someone is doing more. And if I don't go to this audition, whatever, then what would you say to someone to help them maybe get out of that mindset of like, I have to be working? I don't know if you've felt it too, where I think that the most enjoyable dancers to watch and to work with are the ones that do find that balance a little bit better.
I totally agree. And even going into my like second season with the company, something that really helped me was finding like a sense of play in what I do for a living. Like, I think when I joined the company, I was like, okay, I have to be this super serious professional who's always like super locked in. And like, like some of Pilobolus's work is like really unserious, like humor based. It's so, and I think that that has helped me a lot just become a more relaxed performer and like hopefully more enjoyable to watch. I think that to anyone who's like getting in their head about that stuff, what works for me is just to go take a class from a teacher I love. Like
Mm.
I love class, and I think that finding the play in the combo or whatever you're doing, or like, and I'm super guilty of this too, like when you're warming up doing your plies, we're all like the most serious face in the world. It's
Locked. Yep.
like this is life or death if I don't get this like grand plie in fifth in this like
Yeah.
115 theater jazz class. It's like whoa. I like, and I'm super guilty of it too. Like I'm like, Ryan, you can relax your face, like you can smile, like
It's
you
not that
paid to
deep.
be here and enjoy yourself. You can like giggle during tondus. Like it's okay. Like I know it's like so hard to get in that mindset. Just like kind of going to a place of absurdity of like it's just not that deep. For my job, I literally jump onto a stage in like nothing but booty shorts, practically naked, and pretend to be a bird. Like it's
The
gonna
bird.
be okay if I fall off of my leg in this class. Like we're not doing open heart surgery.
I always say
It's
that.
gonna be
I'm like,
okay. It's gonna
as
be
long
okay.
if no one's life is on the line, like we're gonna be okay. Like, and it's good, you want to love it, you want to be serious about it. But I love that idea too. And I say that too of like knowing what the purpose of your like a class is that you're going to, or even an audition, because not all auditions are created equal in your like own term of success. But like, I'll be like, okay, you know what? This hip hop class I'm in, I'm not trying to be a hip hop dancer, but like maybe I can like get a little more swag or like play with my dynamics or just like play with being uncomfortable in a class. You don't have to be like top peak performance in every single class you do, because that's crazy to think that we can be like at that level all of the time. Which, speaking of that level of like that performance, what do you think changed for you from audition 1 to audition 2? Did you do anything physically or mentally different?
I don't think a lot changed. The person that they hired at my first audition was like a 5'6" flyboy, and the person that they hired me is like a 6'1", 200 plus pound base. I think it really goes to like what you were saying of like they just were not looking for my track at that audition.
Mm-hmm.
And if I, got all in my head like, "Oh, I'm horrible, like what am I doing? I don't even know." It's like, no, like they just needed the fly boy for the company at that time. It really didn't have that much to actually do with what I did in the room. It had to do with what type of dancer they needed to hire, you know?
Yeah. Really, like you said, the ego, because they have, especially a company like that, where it's like they have shapes, they have things they need to think about and create. And it's like you can't shrink down to 5'6". And what you said earlier too, of like playing to your strengths and knowing that you're gonna be booked for the right things, because also if you're trying to be something you're not or fit into a role that you're like quite literally like, physically could not fit into, it's not going to be right, and you're not going to have the right time anyways, or like a good time. Probably would be unhappy.
I feel like that's so true though. And something that I've like recently been thinking a lot about is like really thinking about like the creative rooms that I'm in and like what rooms when I leave do I feel super like, oh, I'm so fulfilled, and what rooms do I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why this is, but like when I was like freelancing in the city, I was like, I will never dance for free unless it's for like a really good cause. Like I don't want to dance for like exposure or experience or all of that. Cause like I personally think that sometimes dancers are taken advantage of through that.
I don't think you're alone in that thought.
And now I'm like, I I think it's because I have a more stable income source from dance, but I'm not like, oh, I'm gonna do anything for free. But if there's someone who I think does really cool work, and I like want to be in a creative space with them, I'm going to be less concerned about like the finances. I think I'm more invested in like, oh, like what cool work is happening.
Mm.
And that probably is like a huge luxury that I have, or I've been thinking a lot about like how I rationalize that in my brain and like why I'm in this mental space right now. Cause it seems like counterintuitive to what would have made sense, because now it's like, oh, now I have like more experience and a
You should be getting
broader
paid now
skill set.
because
Like,
right.
but I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Too, I've been thinking about it too, where it's like, I don't know, maybe this is would resonate of like, I also was in college like drilled like you should never work for free, like dancers shouldn't work for free. And I look back now, and especially now as I'm entering like a new space of like social media and like a podcast, like I don't know what I'm doing, but I think that it's a very fine line in the dance world, but there are different currencies than money. There are some times when you're in a situation where you're like, I don't have time. I'm trying to survive. I can't work for free right now because I literally need to pay my rent. But then there's other times where it's like, hey, this is a really cool opportunity, or like a really awesome person that I look up to and I would love to get to network and work with them. Like that is sometimes like networking in your community is sometimes more powerful than money but like you said, when you're in a place where you don't have to worry about like paying for your next meal or paying your rent. I don't know. I think we lose the plot in that way a little bit, but like you said, it's hard because you literally have to live also.
Yeah.
So I don't know, which is interesting because I just see a lot of people like now where it's like, I'm not going to work for free and this and that. And I'm like, yeah, if you're doing something and whoever's putting on the show or whatever, they're like pocketing so much money and not giving you your fair share, like, yeah, maybe that's not good. But if it's like a nonprofit or like a new choreographer who it's like the ticket funds are literally like paying for the production itself and they're not like pocketing all this money, like, okay, yeah, like what are you, not in a transactional way, but like what are you gaining from it?
I need to stop thinking this way, but I'm like, oh, that's like a hobby of like, oh, I'm going to go do this side dance project. It's like, well, that's still dance. But in my mind, I'm like, oh, like this is like my work-life balance because I'm doing something out here, which is so
we need to revisit. Yeah.
But like
I'm work-life balancing, just doing the same thing. Keep going. I'm sorry. It's funny. I get it though.
No, but like it's like wrong to think that way, but somehow I like rationalize it to be like, this is like fun. My day off. I'm spending like a day dancing for my day off, like restorative.
But also like as I get older too, I think about rest and what that looks like. And before, I think growing up, it was like rest is doing nothing, like binge watching your favorite show and like doing nothing. But sometimes like to re-energize and like rest, it is checking something off your to-do list. Like that is gonna make me feel maybe not rested, but like better, where it's like, oh, like I have that mental space to think about other things.
Yeah, totally.
We'll get into our last final question. So Ryan, if you could go back and tell your younger self one piece of advice, what would you say?
Everything will work out even when you don't think it will.
It always does. Usually better than we hope it will too. If there is one key takeaway that you wanted whoever is listening this to remember from this conversation, what do you want them to not forget?
It's so cliche, but be unapologetically yourself. There's only one of you in this world, and it's
true. I love it. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for being here. I'm going to link everything in the show notes, but where can people right now pull out their phones and go follow you and stay in touch with everything you're doing?
They can do it on Instagram. Yeah.
It's what is it? Ryan Hayes? Just your name?
Ryan_Hayes 39.
Ryan_Hayes 39. I'll link it, you guys. Go follow Ryan. Comment, share this episode with someone who needs to hear it. And thanks for kicking with us. And we will kick it with you guys next time.